So in today's video, we're going to cover the uneven barbell during squatting. So an uneven bar could be two things. One, it can be up down, so one side might be higher and one side might be lower, or it can be twisted, so one side is forward and one side is back, or some people might have a combination of both. So what I'm going to cover is potential reasons on why this might occur, and then potential ways on how to fix the problem. Okay, so first off, the potential variables that might contribute to an uneven bar. One, there might be some sort of mobility differences from one side to the other, particularly in the shoulders, the ability to do this, so to externally rotate your shoulders. Okay, one might be different to the other, and just in general, maybe that's just mobility differences from one side to the other. So when you go to grip the bar, you might find that the elbows are in a different position. One side looks tight, one side looks wide. Okay, so there just might be some differences in mobility between sides. Two, just anatomically, we are not 100% symmetrical. Okay, one side of my body is not going to be exactly the same to my other side. My muscles might originate and insert in different places. I might have limbs which are different lengths. I might have more muscle bulk on one side. So we are not perfectly symmetrical on both sides. And for a lot of these asymmetries, we can't actually fix. That's just how we look. Three might just be, as I said, muscle bulk differences as well. You might be bulkier on one side than the other. Four, you might be stronger on one side than the other as well. And five, it just might be that you're not holding the bar straight. Now, just a quick little rant. The fitness industry is very quick to jump on using a bunch of corrective exercises to fix technique problems. For example, there might be someone who can't perform a squat properly for whatever reason. So rather than just have that person keep squatting, they'll jump to, okay, cool, let's do a bunch of accessory exercises. Let's do a lunge, because learning how to do a lunge, I'm just giving an example, learning how to do a lunge is going to carry you over to make your squat better. Yeah, it potentially might help. It might be a supplement to helping to fix the squat. But if you want to get good at squatting, then you practice squatting. Same thing with the uneven barbell. I've seen a lot of videos online. Squat University is a very big one. You have an uneven barbell, so therefore let's do a bunch of corrective exercises to try to identify what the problem is. One, it's even hard to identify what the problem is. There might be multiple problems going on. So using one exercise, which is going to address multiple problems, that's going to be an issue in itself. Two, if there is multiple problems going on and you're going to use corrective exercises, what are you going to use like 5 different corrective exercises so you can fix each of those individual problems, and when all those individual problems are fixed, then you're magically going to have a straight barbell? That sounds like a lot of work and a lot of time. How about we practice squatting with an even barbell, and then eventually our bodies are likely going to adapt and we can squat with an even barbell. Unless, there are severe anatomic differences, maybe you're forever going to have some sort of asymmetry in the barbell, but the barbell doesn't have to be perfect, so long as the bar is straight enough that it is not reducing the efficiency of your movement. And going back to using just squatting with the even bar to help you squat with the even bar, as I said before, there's multiple factors that could potentially be contributing to why your barbell is uneven. I'm going to give an example. I'm just going to move this out the way. Let's pretend in some extreme case that someone's squat looks like this, okay? They just always go to this one side. You can imagine that if this person squats like this, they probably have one leg that is stronger than the other, okay? They probably have one side that's going to have more range of motion in the joints than the other, so this side is probably going to be a little bit more restricted and this side being more strict, so this one will probably be a bit more free, or vice versa. It doesn't really matter, but you can see that I'm asymmetrical. One side is probably going to be more developed than the other, and if I keep training this movement pattern, I'm going to keep encouraging developing this asymmetry, okay? If I get the person now to be like, okay, I want you to forcefully try to squat straight. Okay, initially when the person does this, it's probably going to feel weird. One side, as we said, is weaker. One side probably has differences in range of motion. Maybe the muscles fire a little bit differently, like from a neurological standpoint. Whatever, there's probably going to be some differences. But if the person starts to squat straight, over time, the adaptations or the differences between the two are probably going to start to even out. Making totally arbitrary numbers, let's say this side is doing 70% of the work and this side is doing 30% of the work, okay? Over time, as this person starts to squat more straight, this side is going to probably start catching up, and it's no longer 70-30. It might eventually be 60-40, then 55-45, and then eventually it might get pretty close. It might not be perfect, but it will eventually catch up. But the point that I'm getting at, just doing the squat itself in a straight path or in a symmetrical way, your body eventually is going to adapt and be able to squat straight, because all those individual components which may have been contributing to someone squatting sideways are likely going to start sorting themselves out, and you're going to start adapting and be more symmetrical. Hence why I said earlier before that, cool, if I'm squatting like this, there might be about 5 different things going on, which is contributing to why I'm squatting in this way. So are we going to pick 5 different corrective exercises to try to stop someone going like this? You know, for example, someone might get like a band, putting it around here and tie it to here, so it pulls them this way to force them to go straight. And then let's stretch out this other side because this one's more restricted to the other side. Again, that sounds very complicated and time consuming. And how do we know that all that stuff is going to contribute to fixing your squat? How about we just squat straight? Let's just do that one exercise and squat straight. And all of those variables that are contributing to that sideward squat are likely going to sort themselves out. And then if you wish to add in some of those corrective exercises to be additional to the main thing that we're trying to do is squat, then cool. Add those in if you feel that they're helpful and they are supplementing the main thing. But the first go-to should not be corrective exercises. The first go-to is let's practice squatting straight, and we use the accessory exercises as a supplement. Okay, so the first one we'll go over is the uneven bar, as in one side is up and one side is down. So the first thing that you have to look at, and this is a very basic one, is the bar actually even on your back? A lot of people, even clients that I see, is they'll go to do a squat and they're kind of like on the side here, okay, and to this feels comfortable to them. They might think that this is in the middle, but it actually isn't until I point it out or take a photo on the back, and then they see, oh wow, it's not even on my back. So that's the first thing, is it even on your back? So if I'm gonna start a squat, if you watch any videos of me squatting, that I put my chest like this, and I look down just to see, does this look somewhere in the middle of me, okay? And then if it looks like it's in the middle of me, I'm gonna get my grip right. And the other thing is as well, is your hand in the same grip as well? I've had this problem as well, that I went to squat and I noticed that my grip was shifted to the side a bit. So my grip wasn't even. That was weird, even. But anyway, my grip wasn't even. So, and I thought it was until I looked back and I noticed, oh wow, I'm not even holding it straight. So, get my fingers right, make sure they're even, make sure this is even in the middle of my torso, because then from here, I'm just going to come straight under, and hopefully, I've put that pretty close to even on my back, okay? Because if you have either one arm out and one side closer, that might cause it to tip, okay? If you have, obviously, if the bar is uneven like this, then one side's going to be longer, one side's going to be shorter, and that can cause the bar to have that tipping action. Sometimes I see this weird thing, and I've done this myself, where the elbows look like they're in a different shape. They're not symmetrical. So what I mean is, people come under, and it looks like that one elbow is like in, and one side's up, or one side might be tucked like this, and one side's up like this as well. Okay? It might just be that there's mobility differences between shoulders on both ends. It might just be a positioning thing like that. Again, I used to do this and I thought my elbows were even. When I looked at the video and I looked like I was in this position. So maybe it's just having knowledge of that and pulling yourself even. Because if you've got one elbow up and one elbow down, probably find that one shoulder is going to raise up, one side's going to sag down, and then the bar's going to tip like that. Likewise, as I said, that sometimes it's just anatomical differences between sides or just muscle bulk differences. You can't really change that, okay? If you just have one shoulder that maybe rolls forward more than the other, when the bar's back on your back, yeah, maybe one side's gonna tip more than the other. You can't physically change that, but we can still hold the bar differently, which I'll go over in a sec. And the last one, you just might not have a firm grip of the bar. So in previous videos that I've made, and people who know me, they see that I like to do a thumbless grip with the palms on top of the bar rather than grab like this. The reason I like this way is because when I am squatting, I have a better ability, I feel, to pull the bar down into my back. I mean, you still can pull the bar down in your back if you're holding it with the thumbs around. Maybe you don't have the mobility to, get your arms out high. Okay, you can still pull the bar down in your back like that, but I just prefer that way with the palms over. But the reason I'm getting at, regardless if you're doing the thumbs around or the thumbs over, you want to have a firm grip on the bar. So you're not just holding the bar lightly when you're squatting. You are actively pulling the bar down in your back as you are squatting, because that's going to keep a firm bar. So if you just have a light grip, then maybe you're pulling one side harder than the other, or you're not aware, and that might be causing the bar to tip as well. So the 3 fixable things that you can do straight away to fix the up-down uneven barbell. 1, as I said, make sure the bar is even on your back. Take a video from the back, or get a friend to film you, put on a tripod, just get some way to see how, or get a friend to even tell you when the bar is even on your back. But make sure this is even, make sure your hands are even, so that's an easy fix. 2, film yourself from the front and have a look to see if your elbows are in this funny position. Okay, if they are in a funny position where one side's higher, one side's lower, then just try to correct it and try to hold that position. And then 3, the most basic thing is, if one side is up, one side's down, pull a little bit harder on the other side. You will probably find that if you do hold the barbell like this, when you're squatting, you're not even aware that that's happening. Okay, that's got to feel straight for you. Okay, so you might feel like this, and this might feel straight. Okay, and then when you pull down like this, and you're pulling one side harder than the other, to you, that might feel like that this side is actually all the way down, but then you watch it on video and it's actually straight, which is good to know, because then if you know that when you pull down here and this side feels like it's lower but it's actually straight, when you have that feeling, then you know you're straight. Okay? Also, look at the pattern to when the bar tips. People might have different patterns. So sometimes I used to have this problem. My bar would be straight from at the start of the squat, but then as I descend and go down to the bottom, it gradually gets worse. Okay, then when I'm in the transition phase here, it goes down and then it comes back up into straight by the time I get to the top. So my pattern is that when I get down to the bottom, it gets worse. So I know that as I get down to the bottom, I have to make sure that I'm pulling that side that's going up, pulling that side down harder to overcome that change that happens as I go down. So all of these things of keeping that even barbell, you're going to have to video yourself when you're squatting. Do your squat, look back at your video, look what was the bar shape like, okay? If it was uneven, then do your next set, fix it, do your squat, watch the video, is your bar straight? If it was, take a mental note of how that set felt, because as I said, if you've been holding it asymmetrical and then you pull it to be more symmetrical, it's probably going to feel asymmetrical even though it is straight. So as I said, when you have the feeling of it not feeling straight, that's when it probably is straight, but that will be for you to determine of watching your video back and matching the video back to how the set felt. Okay, as for the helicopter problem, so when you're squatting like this, and one side's forward like this and one side's back, okay? Again, one thing that you can look at is the elbow. So if I'm doing this, you can kind of see this side, this elbow is probably looking more further away, I can imagine, than this one. This left one is looking more tucked and then this one's looking more out. So you just might have to fix your elbows. Okay, again, one side might be up and one side might be down, so you might have to fix that, okay, and fix your elbow position. 2, also, while I'm here, sometimes people aren't aware that their feet might not actually be even. One might be slightly more forward than the other, okay, which gives this kind of helicopter position. 2, one toe might be turned out more than the other as well, and that might be causing some of the unevenness or contributing to the helicopter. But then, as I said in the last point, same thing, that if you feel like that you're coming down and there's a certain point where it starts turning, cool. Well, instead of pulling the bar down this way, you're going to have to work on pulling it this way. So whichever way is going forward, you're going to want to pull that back. Sometimes what I see with the helicopter as well is that the actual torso might be twisted here as well. So sometimes it might just be a thing of making sure you're braced, okay, and your midsection is tight, and trying to keep this midsection as straight as you can, because maybe up here is fine, but then maybe it's coming from down here. But again, just do the opposite, that if this side is turning at the torso, then don't let the torso turn that side. You're just going to have to really brace and keep it still. If the bar is turning this way, cool, pull the bar back this way and try to hold it still. Again, like I said in the last point with the up and down barbell, because I see this is a common problem with the helicopter, the bar starts usually pretty good, then when they get down to the bottom here, as they get lower, it starts to turn, and then as they are going from the transition between the down phase to the up phase, that's when it gets worse. Then they'll go like this, and then it twists back. So again, look at the pattern. If it gets worse at the bottom, and that's when you're doing more of a helicopter, cool. That's when you're going to have to make sure that you are pulling hard to avoid it, minimizing how much it's doing a helicopter. Sometimes the helicopter as well, it might be hard to pick up from the front view because it might look even and you might not be able to tell to see it from the side. How you can pick up on the side view is you're probably going to have to film on both sides. The side that is back and turns this way, if you're watching your video from the side, the bar path is probably going to look excellent and it's going to look like it's over your midfoot, okay, because it's back here and it's probably going to look good. However, if you film from the other side where it's turned this way, you'll probably be able to see that when you're looking from the side, that bar looks way over out in front of the foot, and you'll see it go forward in front of the foot, and you'll see it come back. And it kind of looks like that someone is actually falling forward like this and coming back, okay? But yes, they might be falling forward a little bit because they're trying to pull that bar back, but it might just be that this shoulder is actually falling forward like that, and then they're pulling it back. So it gives the illusion that someone is doing a forward falling squat, but it's actually just a helicopter. So again, film it from both sides, or if you get two cameras, if you can get your mobile phone and a friend's mobile phone, look from the sides and see if there's a difference in bar path. If there is, you have the helicopter going on. And then, as I said, to fix the helicopter, previous points, pull the bar evenly and try to minimize doing the helicopter as best as you can. And the final closing point that I'll talk about, as I said at the start of this video, that adaptations are going to happen over time. If you've been consistently squatting with this twisted barbell, your body has likely adapted to squatting with the twisted barbell. You pull it back and do it evenly over time, that's going to become your new groove. Your strength will start to balance out between sides most likely. Maybe your mobility will start to fix up on its own as well. Things that are actually changeable will likely start to sort themselves out, and you will adapt and you will start to get that new groove. However, that will take time. Just the same as getting stronger at a squat or building muscle takes time. It doesn't happen in a few days. It takes multiple weeks and months, right? So this is the same thing. Don't think that, you just holding it straight and then that's it, it's done. You would need to continue practicing and be on top of that, and then over time your body is likely going to adapt and it will become more straight over time. You will probably continuously have to keep doing this, filming your squat and looking back for quite some time, because again, your asymmetrical bar is probably going to feel normal for you initially, and then when you do it symmetrically, that's going to feel weird. It takes a while for your body to, when you're doing a straight squat, that the straight squat feels like your normal squat. So again, it takes time. Don't think that you can just fix it in one session. It's probably going to take multiple weeks and multiple months to do. And for the last point, potentially tempo squats can help. So if you're doing a tempo squat, that's more time you are spending squatting for one thing. So that's more time exposed to holding a steady barbell. Two, I usually find that if you slow things down, it can increase your awareness to what the problem is. So you're obviously focusing, trying to keep a steady barbell. If it's slowed down, you might be more aware of what the barbell is doing, so you can spend more time holding a steady barbell. So you might do a tempo squat on one day of the week and your regular squat on the other day of the week. And this might help also. So hopefully that video was helpful. If you have any comments or questions or whatnot, just send me a message, put it in the comment box, and I will get back to you when I can. Thanks.